Good evening, afternoon, morning, whatever time it is where you are. Hello. Nice to see you here this evening. The Clarity Shift Masterclass. What we're going to be talking about tonight is the three keys, really, that are going to help you to become successful within your own business. So we've got clarity, confidence, and commitment. This is live, so it's happening right now. It's not recorded, although we are recording it for future presentations. But tonight, right now, it is live. So it's good to have you with me this evening. Here on this wonderful evening. Actually, it's quite nice, isn't it? And as always, we always get some technical glitches. There we go. That's better. And it's starting to work. So what I want to know right now, if you could put it in the chat, is how you're feeling about your business right now. What's going through your minds? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling so-so? Are you feeling great? Is there something that you feel is missing from your business? Write it in the chat and let's see what people are feeling right now. Don't worry. There's no right or wrong answers to this. It's just it gives me a gauge of what maybe you're missing within your business right now. So tonight, it's not the idea that's wrong in your business. When we go into business, we have these ideas of what we're going to do, the product, the service, things like that, and it's not always that that's the problem. Sometimes it's us. We get in our own way when we're running a business. And if we don't know what we're doing, that makes it even worse. That compounds it. So hopefully, as we go through these three keys to the success that you want, that you're looking for, hopefully you can find the road to reaching your potential. David, fairly good, but looking to ensure effective structure. Absolutely. Structure is really important when we're in business, especially if you're a small business and you're working from home. That's one of the things that people struggle with as well. They don't have that office to go to. And when they're at home, there's far too many distractions. And they think, oh, let me just put the kettle on, let me just put the washing on, things like that. Or someone else is at home as well. And they say, oh, can you just do me this? Or could you just run me down the road? Don't worry, I've lived through all of those problems as well. And it's just one of those things that you have to get into your mindset of making sure that you work for your day. So it's blocking out your diary and all those kind of things. But that's we're kind of digressing a little bit onto what we're going to be talking about tonight. So we've got clarity, which we're going to be looking at. We've got confidence, and we've got commitment. Clarity is the one. It's the main one that is something that a lot of people don't really look at. So we're going to be looking at that. Confidence is all about you. Clarity is about you as well. Confidence is also about you. And the commitment, guess what? That's about you as well. So we can put structure, systems, those kind of things in place into our business. But really, it's all about you. You're the business owner. You're the person that I want to understand. And I'm just trying to do something else here. This is the the wonderful thing about technology is that I've got a couple of screens here that I'm trying to do different things with, and it doesn't always let me do it. So, yes, we're going to be looking at these three keys, each in a little bit more depth. Simon, business is fairly new. Fantastic. That's all well and good because this is for everyone. It doesn't matter whether you're a new business, whether you're a business that's been running for maybe a year, 2 years. or a business has been running 10 years. You'll be surprised. Actually, I have a lot of clients who have been running for 8, 9, 10 years, and they just get a bit stuck. They get a bit stagnated. They're stuck in a rut. They think, oh, what's next? What do I do? And a lot of those times, it's because of one, two, or all three of these keys that we're going to go through tonight. So it doesn't matter where you are in business, they are all relevant. You're just finding your feet, Simon, with everything, lots on the horizon, which is fantastic, but nothing imminently. You know what? That really doesn't matter. It's as long as you're doing something and taking action, then that's the main thing. No defined structure yet, tough at times. Right now, business is tough for everyone. It's incredible because of what's happening in the economy, what's happening around the world. People are finding it tough. But hopefully, these three things are going to help you go some way towards helping yourself with that. Right, let's crack on. And I would do. Here we go. But before I get into all of those, before we learn about clarity, confidence, and commitment, I just want to tell you a little bit more about myself, because why are you going to be here listening to me? This is me. So there's my name, Philip Malarides. That's me, Cypriot heritage. I'm a coach, mentor, trainer, and speaker. So I was never very good at school. I wasn't an academic. I didn't do well in my exams. School wasn't really the place for me all those years ago. And I went to quite a good school, to be fair. And well, let's just say they didn't want me there and they asked me to leave, which was all well and good, really, because then I went on to do something that I wanted to do. I was in a lucky position that I knew what I wanted to do at school. And so when they asked me to leave, I went to college to do hospitality, which was exactly what I wanted to do. And from that, I was getting merits, distinctions. I was excelling with my learning rather than being the dunce in the classroom. So I went from D's on my O levels to D's in college, but the D was distinction rather than the grade D, which was at school, so it wasn't very good. And since then, I got my first job when I was at college, and that was at McDonald's. You can see it on the screen there with the McDonald's badge and the training squad badge. Now that was something special within McDonald's because it meant I was part of the team that was training everyone up. Do you remember you used to have to get the stars? There was the 5 stars, and you had to get all the different stars. I was the one who actually taught people how to do that. And I was training everyone within the company. I went to the Hamburger University to become a manager, and I rose very rapidly throughout that company. And actually, McDonald's is such a brilliant company because you can do that. You can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want. It just depends on your ambition. And I was hungry for it back then. And I took lots of opportunities that came my way throughout the years, having my own restaurants, both in the UK and in Cyprus. So that was really good. Been married a couple of times. Kind of at my first marriage, we stayed in our comfort zone. And this is something that's not good, really, for someone who's got their own business. I had my own business then as well, and being in your comfort zone doesn't do too much. It just kind of, oh, we had a good life. We had a house, we had cars, we had holidays, but there was no ambition there. We just didn't push ourselves. And then when I get divorced from that, that was the turning point. That was when I became an entrepreneur. That was when ambition suddenly woke up within inside me. And I started to do things that I'd never done before. And that's when I started to have lots of businesses. That's when I was working within other people's businesses. By then, I was an accountant. Had my own accountancy practice. I had a yacht company. I had my logistics company. I was doing IT IT consultancy, business consultancy, all those kind of things. And that's when I realized that having multiple streams, that's how you build wealth. And I became a millionaire probably when I was 35-ish, something like that. So millionaire on paper, of course, because I had a big property empire by then, earning six figures. So life was good. But those 40 years, I can't believe it's been 40 years. It's been a long time. So yes, 1986 was when I first started in McDonald's. So I've been working for 40 years within business, within the small business sector, especially teaching people, coaching people, mentoring people on how to do business. And I've done that all the way through my time. I did have a little setback in 2011. That was the hardest time because actually I got tagged onto a criminal trial for fraud, for some people who were committing fraud within my logistics business at the time. And I'm not going to go through it now, but actually that adversity brought me to where I am now. So I did get convicted of a fraud. It wasn't my fraud, but I did get convicted. I did go to prison. I spent 3 years in prison. And some of that's going to come out tonight because it's very relevant to the person I am today and actually how I can help you. Hobbies. Do I have time for hobbies? I don't know. So I've always been interested in cars, modified cars, custom cars, old cars, you name it. Love it. Fast cars, yeah, all those kind of things. Um, and even today, I go to a lot of car shows. I used to go racing before, but now I just I want to take a bit of a breather from those kind of things because actually that's an expensive hobby as well. So too are boats. So I did mention that I had my a yacht business, early 2000s, mid 2000s, fractional ownership, chartering in the Med. So I had a boat. It was a smallish boat, but I still had a boat because I thought I needed to have something product to make me credible within that industry. So I was doing fractional ownership down in Mallorca, down in Calador. So we used to go down there quite regularly. Again, very expensive hobby. When you have a boat, they say the best time is when you buy a boat and when you sell a boat. The bit in the middle is the messy bit. And travel, of course. Love traveling. And the thing is, when you have uh, a good business, a business that works, a business that is designed around you, that means that then you can travel a lot. Hopefully, with your business, you'll be able to do those things once you implement the three different keys that we've got tonight. So let's start with clarity. What do you think clarity means? Well, it means being clear about something. It's being able to see clearly. Now, if you look at this picture, I want you to tell me, put it in the chat, tell me what you can see within this picture. I want you to tell me what is in this picture, if you can see anything. It's not a trick question. It's just what can you see? Say what you can see.
Philip, sorry, is there a way of making that picture bigger?
Uh,
Can I click on
not
it, or can you
really.
just share that one rather than you?
Can you not see the picture on the screen?
Yeah, it's tiny though.
That was it.
Yeah.
Is everyone else having that problem? Um, okay, that's interesting.
It just gives me a split view between you and the picture, which means you're both on, I'm going to call business card size. That's better. Oh,
Interesting. Interesting. No, let
swap
me
over.
let me
You've
come
had
off
it
of
then.
that. I'm gonna share in a different way. Let me see.
It did
Because
flick up then as a full screen.
yeah, good old good old Zoom keep changing their. Let's see. What has that done? Has that made any
That's back to
difference?
where you was.
Ah, oh, dear, dear, dear.
That
Hmm.
oh, you've had it then.
It's weird actually because when you say that, well, I'm taking it off of it's don't want to enter full screen. It should. Let's see. This is the thing about Zoom. They keep changing things. Let me do this one.
See, not on the share button on the bottom. That's
All
it.
right.
That's the
How's that?
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. I'll come off the
Perfect.
speaker now.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
good to know what you can see. So here we go. Back to where we are. So in that picture, what can you see? So it's there's possibly something within the picture there, and I don't know whether you can see it in the pink mist. Are you able to see anything through the pink mist? Let me know in the chat if you can, or if you can't, or what you can see, if anything. Any ideas about what's on there? Lights. Could be. I see times where it's difficult to think outside of the box. I like that. That's really good. I like the way you think. Well, this is an example of when we don't have clarity because actually you can't see anything within this picture. It's blurred vision. There's nothing that's there that we can see. And when we work on blurred vision, it says there vague goals create vague action. It means that we don't really do anything. We might think we're doing something, but actually we're not. We don't know what we're doing. And this is where the clarity really sets in. But what we need to look at is ourselves. And the question that I ask a lot is, are you where you want to be right now? Now, this is for both business and your own personal world. I don't know whether you've seen the wheel of life, but I use that a lot when I'm coaching people because we take the wheel of life and we look at where we are in all areas of our world. And then we start to figure out what we want to do. And if you look at this picture now, isn't that crisp? We can see the trees, we can see the sand, you can just about see the grains of sand. It's so clear. And that's where we want to get to. So the first question about are you where you want to be right now? Not many people are. And actually, you shouldn't be where you want to be because everything's moving, everything's evolving. We're going forward all of the time. So, where do you want to be? And this is where we start the clarity process. We need to figure out who we are, where we are, which gives us the starting point for moving forward, and then figure out where we want to be. What is that final destination? A lot of people call it their vision. Where is it you want to be? You know, when you go I don't know, have you been into a job interview before? Maybe. Before you became self employed, you had a job, you went into that job. And in interviews, they always ask you that question, isn't it? So, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Ah, and a lot of people are like, oh, 5 years' time, that's far too far away. I don't know. I just want this job. Now, the reason that they don't know where they want to be in 5 years' time is because they're not thinking about who they are, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and where their destination is going to be. They just want that job. Maybe because they want more money, or maybe because they don't, like Simon, they don't think outside the box. They don't have that action plan. They don't have a plan for life. They're just plodding along and going where the world takes them. And that's the thing about us, us who have our own businesses. We don't look at what society tells us to do. We look at what we can do for ourselves. Obviously, we have society as a whole, and we need to work within the restraints, the parameters that we have to work in. But apart from that, it's all about us. It's all about what we can do for ourselves. So the question is, where do you want to be? You might know, you might not know. These are some of the questions that are difficult to answer. They really are, because they're taking you outside of that comfort zone. Remember when I was telling you, my first marriage, we were in our, living in the comfort zone. We were just cruising through life. We weren't doing anything more than that. But when you get outside that comfort zone, when you start thinking about different things, when you start being honest with yourself, because that's one of the other things that you really need to be, is about that honesty. Who do you want to be? So where do you want to go? And who do you want to be? That's the identity, your identity. Who are you? What do you stand for? This is where we bring in the values that we follow. Again, something that's very difficult to establish. What do we stand for? And often when I talk to people about values, I say, okay, look at the past 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. Look at what you've been doing and look at how you've been doing it. Those are your values. Don't just look at a piece of paper and says, oh yeah, well, I'm going to choose this one, and this one. It doesn't always work that way, because you can look at those and think, right, I want to be like that, which is fine. And that's a great way to be. But what are your values right now? Because if everything is aligned, if your values are aligned with your why and your business is aligned with you, then actually success will come to you, as long as you're doing something about it. Obviously, you can't just sit there and expect the phone to ring without doing anything for that. That's not going to work. But when we look at ourselves, and this is something that we have to do before we even look at the business, because it's about us. We are the business. A lot of times we are the brand. And so when we are the brand, everything has to fit together. That alignment has to take place, because otherwise it's just not going to work. I remember when I came out of prison in 2014, so it was 12 years ago, I came out and thought that my life would go back to what it was before, but it didn't. And the trouble was, I pretended to be someone else. I was pretending to be a different person. I was still myself inside, but outside, my projection to other people was I'm someone else, because I didn't want anyone to know about the past. And it didn't work. It just didn't work, because I wasn't authentic. And when you're not authentic, people can see through that. And I didn't have clarity. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going, because it was all a bit of a blur. That first slide, it was just blurred vision. That was me 12 years ago. But you get clarity as time goes on, if you think about it, and actually working with someone who's asking you those questions. Because the thing is, if we try to do it ourselves, we're going to fool ourselves, because whatever we tell ourselves is the truth. We'll come on to that in a little bit. So we've looked at ourselves. We've got the clarity. We know where we want to go. We know what that future vision is looking like. We know what our values are. We've got that clarity for ourselves, and we're happy with that. So then it's time to look at the business. And when we're looking at the business, depending on whether you've got a product or a service, we're looking at making it simple. Because the thing is, if you make it complicated, then you lose that clarity because it's confusing. You know, when you go to a networking meeting and you talk about all the different things that you're doing, all the different services, or all the different products that you can sell someone, that you can help someone with, you know what? People start to switch off because you're confusing them. They've got too much information being thrown at them at any one time. But if you take just one product or one service and you say, this is what I do and this is how I can help you, then they start to remember. They start to think, okay, I know who you are. I know what you do. And that's when it's the most important because then they have that clarity on you and what you do. So we need to look at every stage of our business. We need to look at the product. We need to look at the service. We need to look at the structure. We need to look at the customer journey. How easy is it for someone to do business with you? Whatever those barriers are, we need to take them out because it's creating that clarity. As human beings, we need certainty. We need to know something will happen when we do something. And if you put little barriers in place, then it's going to make it harder for the customer to actually do business with you. And that's something that you've got to think about. And that's something that with the clarity that we're looking at, we need to look at the whole business and think, okay, is it working? Does it work for us as well, actually? Because you don't want to be working all the hours God sends for very little return. So you have to design that business, design your life, and put the two together, but they must align together. So that's clarity for you. And when we're looking at the business, this is what I mean by the vague goals and the vague action is when we say, I want to grow my business. What do you actually mean by grow your business? Because for someone who's very small and just starting out, actually, they want to grow their business. And I've worked with people who have started out, and I could say, yeah, they grew their business by 600%. Well, actually, for someone who's earning £500 a month, growing by 600% isn't very much. I mean, it's great for them because they've grown it by that much. But when you're looking at a business that's doing 10K a month and they're growing their business by 600%, you can see the difference. So when someone says grow their business, what do they actually mean? It's time for specifics. It's time for you to create that clarity on what you want and where you're going to go. Get more clients. Well, get more clients. But how many more clients do you need? A lot of people just need that one to get them out of trouble, to put a bit more money on the table. But actually, how many do you want? Do you want an extra one? Do you want an extra 10? Do you need an extra 1,000? Because also it depends on your business. Also, when you're doing this exercise, you need to look at who those clients are and where you're going. So it comes on to the next one with improve your marketing. Again, how are you going to do that? Because marketing is a big bag of tricks. And unless you know what you want to do, who your clients are, what you want to achieve, then actually just saying, oh, we need to improve our marketing, what does that even mean? And a lot of things that we see is across the board, everyone has the same problems at some point on their journey. They want more clients, they need more marketing, they need more sales, they need more money in the business. Maybe it's cash flow problem, they need to save more money. They need to do something themselves. The person is stopping themselves from moving forward. So here's a little exercise for you right now. And if you can, if you know right now, over the next 90 days, the one thing that would make the biggest difference to your business is, and if you put it in the chat, think about just one thing that will change your business, one thing that will make a difference to your business in the next 90 days. So we got Victoria, training my new delegate. Yes, absolutely. Because training that person is then going to mean they're going to hit the road running. It's going to mean that they're going to be able to generate business. And for you to do that, you've got to make sure that the way you train them, the way you talk to them, the way you explain things, you have clarity in everything you do. The thing is, it's communication is so different for everyone. What we write down and then someone reads it, they might think you mean something different. So we have to make sure that when we're explaining something, when we're teaching something, that actually we do it in a way that that person understands exactly what we mean. And a great way of doing that is making sure that they tell you back what you just told them, or you give them a trial on something that you're doing so that you can see what they're doing. Obviously, you don't want to micromanage too much because then that person feels a bit claustrophobic and a bit hemmed in and, oh, get off my back. But communication is key. And that's something that a lot of people kind of fall over with because they say, oh, I told them to do that. Yeah, but telling someone to do something, explaining it in a way that they understand and explaining it in a way that they understand is the way that you want it done is the key. David, writing efficient operating procedures for staff. Yes. Now that can be a game changer as well. It's a bit like the training with Victoria there, training someone to do something, do a job. I remember I was in a recruitment company, a recruitment group, and one of the things that I used to put together was how-to guides, but it was the dummies version of how-to guides. So it wasn't just written, you got to do this, you got to do that. I was actually going through the process and screenshotting every part of the process so that they could follow it as you went along. Because then it's very difficult to make mistakes if you're following a process that is showing you what you need to do. And procedures are a great way of making sure that your staff know what they're doing, but gives consistency to the business, which then gives consistency to the customer. If you think, let's go back to McDonald's. When we think about going into a McDonald's, we go and buy a Big Mac from one, it's going to be the same as the Big Mac from the next one. Or even when we go abroad, a Big Mac is a Big Mac. A Big Mac is a Big Mac. It might taste a little bit different because of the different meats they use, but it's kind of the same thing. When we go to McDonald's, we expect the same thing. And they do that through the systems and processes that they have in place. And they do that through the operating procedures that they have in place. Everything is documented. If you have a franchise business, what you have to do is you have to create an operating manual in order to give to your franchisees to say, this is how we want things to be done. In your business, when you create your brand, you should also create a branding document, which means that anyone that is going to use your logo, if anyone's setting up email signature, for example, if anyone's doing your business cards, if anyone's doing some marketing for you, by following your brand design, the colors, the fonts, all those kind of things, then actually you're making sure that everything is consistent for your customer. And that's the main thing. Operating systems are Also important if you want to sell the business. So we always say that when you create your business, when you're building your business, build it with the end in mind. And one of those things is operating manuals. You don't need it. Of course you don't. But maybe you're going to get someone in who's going to need it. And again, we come back to what is it you want from your business? What is it you want from your life? Where do you want everything to go? Do you want to build a business that's got loads of staff in it? Or do you want to keep it nice and small and manageable, that it's just a lifestyle business for yourself? Everyone wants different things. So don't compare yourself to the next person, because they might be at chapter 20 in their book, but you're still at chapter 1. It's totally different and it's not the same. One day your time will come, as long as you work for it. And Simon says he wants to, so for businesses I've interacted with so far, to fully understand my offerings and know they can come to me instead of Amazon, Viking, and the likes of those. Absolutely. It's being important. It's being able to have meetings with your prospects and being able to explain in a good way about what you do. But again, don't try and explain everything you do, because people then get confused again. Go in with one thing. So the stationery, for example, go in with the stationery and say, okay, let's do that free audit, the purchase audit for your business. Let's see what you're buying. Let's see what we can do with the pricing. Go in with that first of all, and then once you win that contract, then you can say, oh, by the way, did you know we did this? Oh, by the way, did you know? Because the thing is, when you go in with one sale, fantastic, they become a customer, and then you nurture that customer to then upsell them, cross sell them, sell them more stuff. And actually doing it that way means that they're going to be staying with you for a longer period of time. So the average customer value is going to be longer and it's going to be higher. And those are the things that you want to do. So it's about communication, it's about the training of our staff, and it's about the training of our customers as well, the expectations of our customers. Because if they have clarity about what you do, then it's going to put them at ease as well. Victoria asks, rather than upsell, surely next orders are the most important thing. Absolutely. So what you're doing is it depends on your business. Are you selling, just one thing, or do you have a range of things? That's where the upselling or cross-selling actually comes in. Because with Simon, for example, he does stationery, and then he does office furniture, printers, ink, all those kind of things. So he does a range of different things. And if you bombard someone with all those things at the beginning, they're going to get confused. I don't know, because you want to be remembered for one thing rather than lots of things, because people won't remember those lots of things. So to get repeat custom is about your one product, your one service, doing a good job and being cost competitive. When I say that, it's about the value that you bring to the customer and their business, rather not just okay, it's a race to the bottom for pricing. So it's about value, and then by that you're getting repeat business. With upselling and cross selling, it just means that you've got more different things, more things to sell. So if you're a coach, for example, you might have something for free, like this is. Um, and then you use this as a funnel to get onto the next thing, which again, I'm going to show you that a bit later. And then you can use that to go into something a bit bigger, if that's your model. So that would be upselling as you go, but people have to follow through the way the way you've laid it out. Whereas if you have a few different products within one segment, then you want the repeat business. And then when you're adding on different products that are similar in a way, then that's the cross selling, and that's the cross selling, and the upselling is selling them more of the products that you want them to buy, if that makes sense. Um, James says that you want the people to know, you want your customers to understand needing my help is not a fail on their part. Asking for help is what winners do early and everyone else does late. Absolutely. I mean, that's the difficult part, trying to get people to understand that asking for help is not a bad thing. It's a great thing. What we're taught at school is that failure is bad. What I was taught at school was failure is bad and I need to do better. But actually, that just doesn't work, does it? We need to change the narrative from school to understand that by failing, and I don't like that word failing, maybe mistakes is the better word, but by making those mistakes, you learn from that. And by learning means that you get better, you become better. And that's what we need where we're in business. And that's what everyone needs from their business and from themselves as well. So instead of feeling negative when something doesn't happen, maybe you don't get the sale. I used to be like this. I used to hate the word no. I used to go in and talk to people and think, oh my God, people say no. And I took that personally. I took it as a slur against me, when actually it's a no for now. It's a nothing about you. It's just maybe the product. Maybe there's something wrong with the product, or it just doesn't fit their business very well, or it's just something that they don't need right now. But actually, by nurturing those relationships, it means that you can move forward and possibly one day get that sale that you're looking for. So number two, so that was clarity. Clarity, that's a huge subject, and we can talk all night about clarity because there's so many different areas that need to be looked at and need to be streamlined or taken back. Confidence, on the other hand, is about beliefs. So confidence is built by action. We don't generally have confidence. When you're a child, you have lots of confidence. You have no fear about anything. You go out and you do it. You do it and then think about it. Whereas when we get older, when we've learned about the world a little bit more, all of a sudden we have this range of fears. We can, whatever it is we're going to do, we have a fear about it. Oh, I'm not going to do that because I fear it. And that's what stops us from doing a lot of things that we feel we should be doing. It's that fear. So by waiting until you feel confident to do something, just means you're never going to do it because that fear is stopping you from doing it. But if you take one small action, one small step, and the first step is always the hardest, then you start to believe. And it's that belief in yourself that is the important thing. When I was at school and I had the teachers telling me I'm not good enough and I could do well, they were telling me I could do better, which I took it as being I wasn't good enough. I was giving my 100%. I couldn't do any better. But they said, oh, yeah, you could do better. I couldn't. But I believed in myself. I believed that I could do what I wanted to do. And that's what got me through. That's what got me through to college. And actually, when I went into college, I excelled because I was doing something that I wanted to do. I believed in myself to do that. And that's what you need to do. Because the thing is, if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to do anything. And this comes from our vision, our compelling vision. You have to have that idea of where you're going and what you're going to do, the clarity of that. helps you believe in yourself. Yes, doing something once will give you more confidence, will elevate that belief within yourself because you'll do something. Have you ever done something that you've kind of been putting off for a little while, and you kind of do it the once and you go, oh, actually, that was easy, wasn't it? That wasn't too bad. I don't feel like I thought I would. And that's the thing. We're telling ourselves, and this is the fear, we're telling ourselves that, oh, I don't want to do that because it's not good for me. I'm going to feel like this. Well, until we do it, we don't know how we're going to feel. So by taking that one single action, we then think, oh, actually, that was okay. But we need to take small steps first to learn about what we're doing. And then we can start running. Because if we run first, then actually we're going to fall over and we're going to lose that confidence within ourselves because we've fallen over, and it's going to take us all the way back, which is not what we want. And looking forward, then this is why we put the vision in place, because we've always got to look forward. What happened yesterday has gone. It's in the past. Yes, things from the past make us who we are today. But actually, that might not be the right thing. We might not be in the right place. I asked you at the beginning, are you where you want to be right now? The past has brought you to where you are right now. Is it where you want to be? Maybe, maybe not. But by looking forward, we can change it. By having the belief within ourselves, oh, actually, I can do that. Stop comparing yourselves to other people, because who you are today might be a different person in the future. If we look at, I don't know, sports people, for example, we look at all these overnight successes. They're not overnight successes. They've been doing it for a very long time. And then all of a sudden they become successful. There's a tennis player who was in Wimbledon this year. I can't remember his name. I think he was the one in the final who did lose, unfortunately, and he's lost a lot to Sinner, was it, who won? But he's been on the circuit for, I don't know, 10 years or something. And it's only been the last few years that he's started to raise his profile. And this year, he actually won a Grand Slam, and I think it was the one before Wimbledon. So he was on a high, and coming to Wimbledon, obviously he's looking to win that. Got into the final, which was absolutely fantastic. So he had the belief, but unfortunately, it was just not his time. And so what he can do now is look at his mistakes, if you want to call them that, and then learn about what didn't work and what did work, and then concentrate on what did work instead of thinking about what didn't work. And that's what we mean by looking forward. Because if we keep looking at the past, actually, that's going to create guilt, that's going to create resentment, that's going to create hatred, all these negative things that it's going to create. Whereas if we're looking forward, that's giving us optimism. That gives us the belief that things are going to be better. And that's where we want to be. So look forward and keep going. Don't stop doing what you're doing, because as soon as you stop, that's when everything halts. And that's when you can use that word failure, because you can only fail when you stop trying. So you've got to keep going, no matter how hard it gets. Adversity brings resilience. When we start doing things, yeah, we're going to get knocked over. Yes, things aren't going to go right. But actually, what that does is that builds our resilience so that the next time it happens, we know what to do. The next time it happens, we can take that emotion out of it, because it's that emotion that stops you. It's that emotion that makes you feel rough, makes you feel, ugh, gives you that feeling. But actually, you want to feel positive moving forward, not negative. So keeping going is key. One thing, so I've got Sarah's example here. So Sarah was looking at raising prices in her business, and she was humming and hawing about it because she says, "Well, if I raise my prices, then everyone's just going to go somewhere else, and it's not going to work, and I don't know what to do." So the idea for her was to think, okay, well, let's just do it on one client and see what happens, see what the reaction is, see what they say, see whether they accept it. And what she did was she raised it with that existing client that she had, and she explained to them the reasons why the costs, the product had to go up, and they accepted it. And she thought, okay, well, if it worked with them, it can work with everyone else. As long as I do it in the right way, as long as I explain things in the right way, then actually this could work. And obviously for new customers, they would be paying the higher price anyway. But it's about testing what you want to do as well. Because when we do something, that gives us that belief because we're very good at self-sabotage. We're very good at stopping ourselves from doing something because of those fears that we have. And if you do something just once, remember that feeling. Oh, okay, that was easy. That didn't hurt so much. Oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Then you can roll it out to other people as well. So if you think about it, you think about where you are, think, okay, what small thing could you change? That little tweak that we do of our business that you could change that could make a difference within your business. All of these things, I'm not expecting you to think about, to come up with the answers right now, because all of these things, it's a process. And we need time to think. We need time to be honest with ourselves. We need time to chat about the ideas that we're having, because those things are really important. I was saying there's no such thing as an overnight success. This is exactly it. Everything takes time. You try things, you see what happens, and then you can tweak it, change it. If it doesn't work, you've learned from that. That hasn't worked. Let's do something different. Commitment. Number 3, the third key. So we've looked at clarity. We looked at, making sure we know and understand what we're doing, and our customers in the same way know and understand what we're doing. We have that confidence. We have that belief within ourselves. They always say, don't they, that a good salesman believes in their product. That's so important because actually that gives you the, I was going to use this word, but I can never say it. It's one of those longevity. That's it, isn't it? Longevity. I hate that word. I can never say it. It gives you that longevity of your business because having that belief means that you can move forward with it, and you can stay going. Gives you that motivation because motivation comes within. We have the internal self and we have the external. We can't change the external. It's things that happen to us. It's what society does. It's what society throws at us. It's what governments do when they change everything. What we need to do is adapt and change what we're doing so that we can win over from what they're doing. Now, commitment means just one thing: action. Yes, we need to take action. It's all right putting these ideas on paper. It's all right having these strategies and all those kind of things. But if we don't do anything with them, then there's the problem. We have to take action. We have to do something. We have to keep moving forward. When we're walking, if we stop walking, we don't go anywhere. We're standing in the same place. We're not moving. Nothing changes. Well, everything changes around us, but for us, nothing changes. But then if we start walking, then we get to somewhere else. And that's the same thing with our business. We need to do things in order for the business to move forward, in order for the business to change, to create something. And by taking that action, we learn what not to do and what to do. And you can see how all three of these keys go together. They align with each other. We need to make sure that we use all of these at the same time, rather than just picking one and think, oh, okay, well, I'll just do that one, because it doesn't work. We need to use all three. So how do we take action? Well, this is where we start planning. This is where the goals come in. We need to think of big goals. We're thinking about the vision, where we're going, where we want to be in 5 years, where we want to be in 10 years. We have an idea of those, and then we reverse engineer it. And we come down to the year ahead, the next 12 months. What can we do in the next 12 months that is going to make a difference? What is going to make a difference? What's going to take us on that journey where we're going? And once you have those goals, then you can take the action on those goals. And when we're looking at those goals, we have to look at them in some kind of structure. Because before, remember, we were talking about vagueness. If you have something that's vague, it's not going to do too much, is it? It's a bit like getting into the car and driving off and just driving. You might turn right here, you might turn left here, but where are you going? Where are you going to end up? You don't really know. But if you have a destination that you're going to, then you put that in the sat nav. The sat nav then takes you on that journey. It tells you where to go. Turn left here, turn right here. It even these days tells you where the traffic is and then reroutes you. That's fantastic. That's what we do in business. We do something and then something's not working right, so we take a different journey. We take a different turning. So I use SMART goals. There are lots of other different acronyms that you can use, but really they're all kind of the same thing. So I use the SMART acronym really, which is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. And sometimes you can add a couple onto the end, but they're more about accountability and making sure that you follow through. So being specific is the clarity. We need to know exactly what we're doing and where we're going. Because without that, we don't know. We don't know what to do when we're in that. So we can do that. Being measurable, we need to put milestones in place. We need to know that we're moving in the right direction. The thing with a goal is that you might not reach it within the time set, but that doesn't matter. As long as you are moving forward, as long as you're reaching those milestones. So being measurable is very important. And if we don't know where we're going, we can't put those milestones in place. Achievable, again, this is the funny one, being achievable, because if it's achievable, then well, anyone can do it, and anyone can do it, because we all have the same capabilities. When we're born, we're all born with the same capabilities. We're all born with the same beliefs. Something changes over time, but actually, everything is achievable that we want. And this is where you've got to be careful with your goals. They need to be your goals. Again, it comes back to this comparison. Don't compare yourself with other people. Think about what you want yourself. Next door has a new car. Fantastic. Do you want a new car? Maybe, maybe not. You may want a different car, but you might not need a new car. And that's the difference. Next door has, they're putting an extension on their house. Do you need an extension on your house? Is your family growing that you need more room? So you need to be honest with yourselves, because if your goals are not aligned with yourself, then you're not gonna reach them. You're not going to get to them because you're going to lose interest. You're going to lose momentum. You're going to lose motivation. You're not going to be interested. Things will change, and you'll just think, oh well, yeah, tried that. What happens at the end of each year? Yeah, we think, oh, moving into the new year, I'm going to get fit, I'm going to get thin, I'm going to lose weight, all this kind of stuff, regardless of whether you need to or not, regardless of whether things are going to happen. Do you actually want those things? Again, it's about the clarity of what they are. B, it's about your beliefs. Do you really want to do that? Or are you just saying that because everyone else is saying it and you feel like you want to be part of the gang? Don't be part of the gang. If you've got your own business, be different. That's the key. Be different. Don't be like everyone else. Realistic, again, we have to make sure that the goal is a realistic goal, something that we can do, can achieve. It is achievable. But when we look at realistic, it's about your business. Again, it comes back to being honest. Is it realistic to expect to be able to get that goal for your business? And timely is putting a time limit on it. The thing is, we need to put a time limit on it because if we don't, it will just drag. Now, I did say that you don't need to reach the goal within that time limit. That doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that you need a bit more time because maybe things didn't happen in the way you wanted them to happen. But if you don't put that deadline into place, then it's going to drag. Think of the salesperson who has a year to reach their targets, and in the first 3 quarters of the year, they kind of drag their heels. They don't do too much, and then in the last quarter, they go, I'm not going to reach my target. And then all of a sudden they have to work really, really hard just to reach their target, let alone produce more. And they had that deadline. And when they got close to that deadline, they started working more harder. Whereas in the first 8 months of the year, they didn't because they thought, oh, I've got plenty of time. They haven't really. So putting that time deadline in place, and we normally work with 90 days, 3 months, because it works with the quarters of the year as well. So it works quite nicely. But by doing that means that you're focusing the mind. All of this enables you to focus the mind, because once you're focused, it means that you're going to do more with what you're doing. So the commitment part is taking action. Yes, you might get into a situation where you're procrastinating. You might get into a situation where you feel overwhelmed. This is because you're trying to do too much. Again, we come back to the clarity situation. We come back to the alignment. We come back to your vision and your why. If you're procrastinating, there's a reason why you're not doing something. It's not what the goal is, but it might be the alignment of the goal to you or to your business. It might be something. When I was at school, I was procrastinating with schoolwork, with my exams, because I just couldn't do them. I couldn't regurgitate the information that they needed in order to pass the exams. So I kind of dragged my heels a little bit because I didn't want to do it. But when I went to college and I was excelling because I wanted to do it, that was my motivation. That was the momentum. I would get up in the morning and think, yes, rather than getting up in the morning and thinking, oh, another school day, got to go to school. And that's what happens when they always say when the stars are aligned, don't they? Have you heard of that saying? That means that is in place, the ducks in a row. But it's because everything is where it should be. And you're following the dream of where you want to be and enabling you to reach your potential. That's the important part. And all these three things, the clarity, the confidence, and the commitment, fit together like a glove. They're the three keys that will unlock that success for you. So it goes from overwhelmed to being in control. It goes from not having a real plan to just working all the hours God sends to actually having a clear idea of what you're doing, wanting to get up in the morning, having that motivation, having that confidence to do things. And that momentum then becomes a rhythm. And by doing that rhythm, by moving forward, we then become the success that we want. But it's important to understand what that success is because some people think it's about money, and that generally happens when you're young. You think, oh, everything's about money. It's all about the money. I did when I was young. It was all about the money. Now it's not about the money at all. Now it's about the experience. Now it's about relationships. Now it's about creating something that is sustainable for the future because that's where we want to be. And actually, it's not about working hard or long hours, but it's about doing work that is aligned with yourself, that is going to create those successes that you want. Now, I did mention this a little bit earlier. This is the sessions that I have where I can help you. You can take all this information, you can take the clarity, the confidence, and the commitment. You can go through it all yourself. You can figure out what you want, where you want to go. You can set those goals within your business. You can think, right, this is what I want to do. And then you can go and run with it. Fantastic. It's all possible. Will you do it? I hope you will do it. I really do, because it means that then you can become a better person. You can build a better business. You can build something that you want. But the chances are that you won't. We're human beings after all. It happens to the best of us. We kind of think, oh, yeah, one day. But the thing is that one day, becomes a week, becomes a month, becomes a year. And we look back and we go, what have I done? So the way I work is that we have the clarity shift session. So all the things that we've been talking about tonight, we sit down and we say, okay, well, let's go through these. Let's see what they are. Let's figure out what they are. And then we go through with 3 calls, 3 months, call each month to see where you are, to see what you're doing, to see whether you're on track. Because we would have created the goal, and then we would have created the milestones to be measured, so that each time we have that conversation, we can see where you are and whether you're on that journey or whether actually that's the wrong journey and we should change it. Meet Caroline. Now, Caroline, I did a session with a little while ago, a couple of months ago, and she's a counsellor, and she wasn't doing counselling full time. She wanted to do counselling full time. She wanted to have a change of career because she was doing some bookkeeping, but she hadn't quite made that jump because she was a bit scared actually because she didn't want to lose the security of her PAYE money to go self-employed and thinking, oh, okay, I'm responsible for my own money. But this is what she said. I cannot recommend Philip enough. As a counsellor, I am great at listening to others, but I needed help structuring my own business. He provided a safe, encouraging space to untangle my ideas. Thanks to his tailored advice, I've gained the confidence to optimize my existing contacts, research, and write my own marketing material and attract my ideal clients. And for her, she didn't really know who her ideal clients were. But through the process, we did identify who those ideal clients were, because actually they were people that she was working with already. And she's gone away and she's been creating her own marketing material and making the inroads into where she wants to be. So she's on a journey and she's doing really well. Andrea as well. Bizarrely, she's another counsellor, but she runs a group of other counsellors who want to be counsellors. They're already counsellors and they want to move forward with their business. I spoke with her group last week, and she said, I particularly enjoyed your reflections on acceptance, because I spoke about acceptance. I spoke about when you go through adversity, things go wrong. And the way of building that resilience is by accepting what has happened. I mentioned the past. The past has brought us where we are today, but you have to accept the past and what's happened to you, because sometimes maybe things haven't gone the right way. Maybe things have been very negative, but what you do is accept them and move forward. So this really resonated with me, as it's something I explore regularly with my counseling clients. So often it's our resistance to difficult thoughts, feelings, or situations that keep us stuck, whereas acceptance allows us to acknowledge reality, regain our footing, and decide how we want to move forward. Hearing you talk about this from both a personal and business perspective was incredibly valuable. And you can see that, everything I talk about, everything I do is about people and how people can move forward with wherever their lives are. So the Clarity Shift session, these are the sessions that I help you with. We do a deep dive into your specific business. On here it says 60 minutes one-to-one. It is one-to-one, but it may last longer than 60 minutes. That's an hour, could be 2 hours, could be 3 hours. It doesn't matter how long it takes. We just get it done. So we look at your one thing, what is that one thing that you need to concentrate within your business? We work through that confidence block that you might have, and you'll leave with a written 90-day action plan. So it's your goals. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? What you want to do? And then after that session, we then have the 3 momentum calls once every month, and we look at what you're doing, what's working, what's not working, staying accountable to the plan. So looking at where your milestones are and working out what you need to do next. If something's not working, why not? What have you tried? How can we change it? What do you need to do next? Now, I'm going to put in an offer here for you, because that's what you do with a webinar, isn't it? You can go away and you can do all these things for yourself, or you can come and work with me. So, your investment, if I was doing this normally, is £125 for the Clarity session on its own, and then it's £100 per month for the 3 calls. So in total, that would be £425. But today it's 297. So if you book today, you can book it for 297. But there's a bonus I'll give you. You can have the Clarity Map workbook within your first session, which is different to the 90-day plan. And it's something that we'll do before that. You'll get access to me every week for the next 3 months, rather than just once a month. And priority scheduling. So, you get first choice of sessions to be able to book in. So the momentum calls means that each week you get an accountability call with me, rather than being once a month. So that's your bonus for today. So if you're ready for that, 297, you can click on buy the Clarity Shift offer. Hopefully it'll work. I don't know. I've never used one of these before, so it'd be exciting to see whether it works. I've always done it in a different way, but this is something new for me. And it's one of those things that I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this and see if it works. Because if you don't try it, you'll never know. And like we saw earlier with Zoom, it was like, okay, something's happening. It's not right. Let's have a look. Let's change things. Let's press some buttons. Let's see if it works. And it works. So that's what you've got to do. You take the emotion out of something and then you look at it and you move forward. So I hope you've got something from this. Just one thing would be great. I'm going to open it up now to questions. If you've got any questions, you can either put them in the chat or you can unmute yourself and say hello. And if you haven't got any questions, that's even better. It means that you've understood what I've been talking about tonight. You've made some notes and you're going to go away and you're going to actually make some changes to your own business, which would be absolutely fantastic. I would really like to know if you do make changes to your business, because actually that would, that would be fantastic. It means I can understand what you changed and how you changed it. That meant that you got more success within your business. So if there's no questions, I'll just put that out there again. If you'd like to ask a question, feel free to do so. If not, then what I will do is say thank you very much for taking time this evening. It's gone a little bit over what I thought I was. I was going to try and keep it to an hour, but obviously it's gone on for a little bit longer. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming along today. Hopefully, it's been uh, it's been educational for you. Shall we say that? Hopefully, you've learned something. If not learning something, hopefully it's enabled you to sit back and look at yourself and think, you know what? I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right path. I know where I'm going now, and things are going to move in the way that I thought I would. So thank you very much for coming along, guys. It's been a privilege to be here this evening and take you through the clarity shift. And if you ever need to ask me a question, do you? I think you've got my email and those kind of things. So ask me anything you like, whenever you like. I'm always here for you. So thanks very much, guys. Take care, and I will see you soon. You're right, Simon.